Let's take a quick little walk around D'Amboise. It's late February. Things are starting to warm up a little bit. Minus 10 degrees Celsius today, which is quite warm, believe me, compared to what it's been the last little while. I just want to stop in and see what the ladies in the coop are doing, make sure they're okay. They've been complaining quite a bit because it's pretty cold and they can't go outside. Been doing what we can. We gave them xylophones, so they started a band. They've been playing tetherball with a cabbage, but they still have their complaints, obviously. Hey guys. Hey, hey. These guys are all weirdos. Jaconis. Yeah, they're gonna need some food. I know, guys. I know. I'm a little bit late this morning. Just watching the Olympics. I know, that'll do it for now, though. I have a feeling they want a few worms. You guys want worms? These guys always want worms. Okay, enjoy. Probably get nice and warm in the coop today too. Don't like that. Let's take a quick walk over to the greenhouse. Temperatures are supposed to be going above 0 next week, which is really making me itch to get back out into the garden, into the greenhouse. We've got a lot of stuff to transplant in the house right now, growing under lights. And our plan is to move that into the greenhouse late March, early April, and hopefully have fresh vegetables a couple weeks after that. We started really early this year for exactly that reason. And plants are doing really well inside. Just a matter of getting them outside now, because I can guarantee they want some of that sun. We all do. Really craving some fresh vegetables that weren't ripened on a truck, if you know what I mean. Here's the greenhouse. It's warm in here. Snow up on top. I should probably try and knock some of that stuff off. 10 degrees. 10 degrees Celsius in here. Cannot complain about that. Minus 10 outside. 10 degrees in here. Beautiful. This place is a mess. We didn't even bother really with cleaning it up in the fall because it got cold so fast. We just got in here, got all the veggies out. Just left the plants sitting. Caddis is ready. She wants to do some gardening too, I think. Hey? It's nice and warm in here, isn't it? So it's a pretty simple greenhouse. We built it out of an old, like, portable garage, carport, whatever you want to call it. And then just used some poly sheeting on it. Secured everything with 1x2 or I guess 1x3 that we stained. And then we had a greenhouse, which did awesome for us. Kept us growing food until late October, early November last year. I think next week, if it actually does get as warm as they're saying, I'm going to get in here and start cleaning this place up a little bit. I'm going to set up some composting in here and see if we can get nighttime temperatures up. I've got a little thermometer that I can keep in the house and see kind of what the temperature is in here versus what the temperature outside is. So that'll be interesting and fun. Might be a little way to heat this thing early in the season and late in the season. Definitely won't work for the winter, but I want to get something figured out for heat this year. Something a little bit different that is not using electricity. So I got my research to do. If anyone has ideas for stuff like that, leave it in the comments because I'd be happy to know. Don't forget we're in Manitoba, so some of your ideas from the south don't work the same here because it gets a lot colder. So let's get inside, start transplanting. Some peppers, whole bunch of different pepper varieties over here. Hot, sweet, banana, bunch of herb varieties, kale, lettuce. Over here, we got a whole whack load of strawberries. I'm really looking forward to these in the summer. And some little celery plants too, started up. But the focus today is this stuff over here. Get it all transplanted into some bigger pots so that it's ready to move into the greenhouse. The setup basically on this side of the room is a 400 watt metal halide. All of these plants started out under these LED lights over here. They were planted around January 8th. I'd have to look at my calendar to be sure exactly what day it was. Everything in here runs off this little timer. I run things 16 hours a day. So I'm just kind of trying to mimic, you know, early spring, early summer, in around there. Just it keeps them happy. You don't want to go with too little light because they won't grow properly. Too much light isn't really necessary, and I mean, you're just basically wasting electricity and it's costing you more money. The entire setup now with the 400 watt metal halide running here in Manitoba costs about $20 a month to run. When we had just the other setup with the LED lights going, that was about 13 bucks a month. So you got to kind of weigh the cost versus what you're growing if it's going to make sense to run a system like this for a few months before you're able to move it out into the garden. For us, it definitely makes sense because it ends up costing about 50, 60 bucks for us to run this whole system before we move it out into the greenhouse. This is a mixture of compost and potting soil. The brand we use is ProMix. It's just one that we've always had luck with. Always seems to work. The whole medium is nice and loose. Plants all have some decent root growth, that's for sure. It's definitely time to transplant. This is actually kind of pushing it a little bit. I think they'll probably be just fine though. I just got cell pack. I got it separated into little pieces here just so that when it's under the lights I can move them around a little bit if some plants or some varieties are growing a little quicker or a little slower than others. When I'm starting seeds, I like to screen the dirt that I'm using just so there's not any big chunks in there that are going to not allow the roots to penetrate through the soil properly. Especially when they're just starting to grow, you want those roots to be able to just freely move around in the cell and not be hindered by anything at all really. So sending it through a screen like this, you also get these bigger twigs, things like that out of the soil. It's not such a big deal when you're putting the transplants into either bigger pots or, you know, in the ground. They have decent root systems at that point and they're able to move around a lot more freely than when they're just little sprouts starting out. Once you have nice even coverage, pick up the tray and just drop it a couple times. This will help settle the soil into the cells. You want to be as even as possible so you don't have one or two cells in a tray drying out before the others or just having a lot less growing medium in it. Well, that took the better part of today to get everything transplanted, but I'm glad we got it done. Everything seems to be happy. Everything's in 4-inch pots. The herbs will probably eat before they even make it out into the greenhouse. As far as seeds, today we did cauliflower, green cabbage, red cabbage, Brussels sprouts, some really long season, really big turnips, a bunch of tomatoes. We got black tomatoes, beefsteak, Roma, jelly bean, yellow bell peppers, and red bell peppers. These 2 peppers here will be to be planted in the garden, not for the greenhouse. They will go into the greenhouse, but anyways. And then a tray full of onions that I just mass planted, and these will be put into the garden mid to late May sometime. Maybe earlier if we get lucky this year. We'll see what the weather does. Well, hopefully that was at least a little bit informative for folks. Just how we start our early crops. A little bit of a look inside the greenhouse. Stuff like that. Look at this. I'm out here now just in my sweater. It's warmed up to -2 Celsius. Beautiful. Chickens even got outside. They're liking this as much as I am. I want to say check these guys out. Lumina Acres. Awesome channel. If you're into homesteading, any of that kind of thing, these guys are really cool. They're in the Northeast United States. Highly recommend checking them out. Don't forget to subscribe. See ya.